Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are comfy and if you're new, welcome to my channel. So glad to have you here. Please subscribe and like if this video resonates with you and we can get right into the video. So today I'm going to be talking about things that I learned in my 7 years of investing. Some of these lessons are things that you have to actually go through in order to understand. A lot of these lessons are very prevalent and needed in your repertoire of knowledge when it comes to investing in the stock market. Lesson number one is you have to start. We're always waiting for that 2008 or 2020 moment, and you can really never guess when that's going to happen. You will not be doing yourself any favors by trying to time the market. Whereas if you just join the market or you jump in whenever you're able to financially, over time you will see great gain, and that's just based off of the market's past performance in the past decade. A lot of people try to wait until they have enough money to put a big amount in to begin with, and that too is kind of like timing the market. Whereas if you were to put your first $10, your first $50 in and put in whenever you can, you will have more time in the market and your dollar cost average will be lower in stocks that grow over time. People also give themselves something that is coined as analysis paralysis, where they get lost in the details of a stock, of their earnings, of their earnings reports, and in that analysis, they never really make a decision to take that leap. So what I like to do is start off with companies that are tried and true, that have great earnings year over year, and that are pretty stable. So maybe blue chip stocks or even ETFs that have a bundle of those well-known, profitable companies. Playing it safe to me was my best bet, and it was what helped me just get into the market, because starting really is the first step to becoming a successful investor. Lesson number two that I learned in my 7 years of investing is to block out the noise. And what do I mean by noise? It could be from your family that might not know much about the stock market, and it could also be from the media that is telling you this stock is going to crash. So when I see a company being sold off because of the fear, that's when I like to jump in. But also just believe in yourself. You can do the analysis yourself. And if you know a company is good, if you use a product and you know that a company is good, but people are telling you, oh, don't invest in that, block that out. You don't have to go based off of what everyone else is saying. If you believe that it's a good company overall and you like their products overall, then go with your gut and invest what you want. Just keep in mind that world events are going to happen whether you invest or not. And in the long run, people have invested through so many world events and they still have an overall gain. People have invested through the dot-com bubble, 2008, 2020. I've started investing in about 2018, so I invested through the 2020 drop, and my gains are still just as good, if not better, than they were before that drop happened in 2020. The third lesson that I like to grab onto is to delay gratification. And a lot of the magic in investing comes from waiting. You can see big gains in one of your positions and maybe you want to take some of the profits, and that's fine, but completely selling just because you've seen it happen, like say on Wall Street bets with GameStop or AMC, like, yeah, you'll get some gain in the moment. Also, just keep in mind that wealth building just takes time. A lot of people I know on TikTok and on Instagram show you some glamorous things in their lives, and that's great, but money doesn't always work that way. Fast money, I'm sure, is amazing and feels great. The rush is probably so nice, right? The dopamine hit is probably a really nice feeling, but in real life, most people aren't going to be able to experience that feeling. And so the safe bet would be to just delay the gratification and put in the work that you know will result in you having a good retirement fund when it is time to stop working in the future. That the snowball effect really works wonders. The compounding of the interest will only work in your favor if you are able to keep your money in place for 10 years or more. That growth will begin to grow on you and you'll be used to seeing big numbers come and go. Time in the market plus compound interest will be your best friend in the end. Lesson number 4, and in my opinion, the most important lesson, is to keep your success private. Say you invested in Palantir before all the hype and you were able to sell at that 91% gain that a lot of people actually have. Don't tell anyone. People aren't always in tune to what you're passionate about. So if you're talking about a success that you've had in the stock market, it could come off as grandiose, it could come off as bragging, and it could invite negative energy into your bubble. And you just don't want to attract too much negative attention, especially when you're talking about success with finances, with how things are going in the economy at the moment. It's just not the safest thing to do. Also, that comes with that, naysayers that operate from a place of limiting belief or lack. And a lot of that can deter you from doing what you feel is right in your journey. So, on top of inviting the negative attention, part of that negative attention is people telling you that you're gambling or that you shouldn't do that. People advising you to maybe use a pension instead of investing in your 401k. And, people can be really convincing just based off of the fear that they may have with their own financial situation. And there's really no room in your goal making process for those negative thoughts, those limiting beliefs. It could really deter you if you don't have a strong enough mindset when it comes to your financial journey. And third, there's also negative influences that can detract from your progress. People that hear that you just had a very successful trade and you have a lot of money that you're sitting on now, and they're like, oh my gosh, you only live once. Let's go on vacation. A round of shots on you, or let's, go to dinner. Let's go to this place that's really expensive. It adds up. And I know every once in a while you want to treat yourself, and that's fine, right? If you do this one time, maybe you want to go to dinner, treat your friends one time, or go on a vacation one time, that's fine. But just know that it's a slippery slope, and one time might not feel like enough. Moderation is so key when it comes to enjoying yourself with your money, and that money can run out really, really fast with inflation and just how things are being marked up. You just never know when the negative influences can take over and actually, not benefit you in the end. My fifth lesson is to save your first $100,000 as fast as you possibly can. People were not lying when they say that the compound interest after you hit that 100,000 mark is astronomical. The way your money starts to work for you once you reach that point is insane to watch. And I honestly did not start seeing the crazy gain until I reached 100,000, which was in about June of 2024. 100,000 is in no way rich per se. You can't retire off of 100,000, especially me living in a high cost of living area. But it is a good start to really starting to feel like you're building a safety net and a nest egg. And if anything, it's a good motivator to keep going, because it's like, okay, I'm almost at $500,000. I'm 1/5 of the way to $500,000. And also, your first $100,000 takes the longest. So there was a nice graphic I saw on Instagram where they said that it took them 8 years to reach their first 100,000, and then also 8 years to go from 500,000 to a million. So you're telling me that in the first 8 years, you gained 100K, and in the last 8 years, you gained $500,000. Like, your money is working so hard. Imagine if it took you 8 years to save in a bank account, 8 years to save every single $100,000. That's just not feasible. My sixth and final lesson is to pay attention to the tax implications. And this is not the fun part of investing, but it's super fun to not be bugged and bothered by the IRS and the SEC. Some things that I did not think about when I started my investing journey is marital status, as well as your income limit. And I know I talk about this a lot when it comes to my Roth IRA and not putting into it this year. And, I got some comments too saying that people aren't understanding why I don't invest in my Roth IRA anymore. And just to be clear, it's because of the tax implications. since I got married, my income changed. A lot more clear for single people, the limit for contributions for people that make a certain amount of income. But for marriage, it's a lot more difficult to decipher, as well as it being kind of convoluted. In some of the comments, people were like, you should do a backdoor Roth. That still comes with penalties and fees, and people don't keep that in mind. At some point, it's better to just pay the taxes on the individual brokerage than it is to do the backdoor and pay those penalties and fees up front. So that's still something that I'm trying to figure out, but just pay attention to the tax implications of investing. Things in your life will change. You'll buy a house, you'll get married, you'll have kids, and all of that comes with tax implications that we should not ignore. So please, please, please don't be caught off guard with the tax implications of your investments like I was. That is one of the biggest lessons outside of the fourth one, is to pay attention to the taxes. So those were my 6 biggest lessons from 7 years of investing. And I really hope that you guys got a lot out of this. I want to know, though, in the comments what you guys have learned since investing. How long have you been investing, and what are some things that you learned the easy way as well as the hard way? Also, are there any other lessons that you guys have learned that I have not mentioned? I want to know that as well, because we're always learning on our journey to early retirement. So thank you guys again for coming to this video, and I will see you in the next one.